nakutaka, mpenzi wangu, penzi nakupenda, mpenzi wangu, penzi nakutaka, mpenzi we, nakupenda sana.
Mpenzi, hakuna matata, kila kitu kitawa. Can you hear that? Did you finish it? If you did, then you're gonna love today's show because we're going old school. We're taking it back to the 90s and early 2000s. And my guests today have a combined total of 50 years of experience in the music industry. We are talking to DJ Pinye and Musyoka, and we're just talking about music and how it's changed. And the show gets quite interesting, a little bit dicey. You don't want to miss it. It's a fun Friday show, so let's get started. All right, gentlemen. So I'm going to start this off with some quick fire questions. Only prompted because Pinye was like, what was the first question? And I was like, actually, you know what? I want to start with quick fire. Throw you guys out there and see what answers you've got for me. Be honest. Be honest. Okay, my first question is, who was the last person you texted?
Huh? Definitely not my wife.
Okay, what does that mean?
The last person I texted?
Yeah.
My uncle.
Okay.
I haven't texted today.
Impossible.
Yes, I haven't. I haven't.
Is that like part of your rituals?
So
like,
are we saying text or WhatsApp?
Oh, WhatsApp counts as a text. So who was the last person you WhatsApped?
A friend of mine. I was looking for some work. There's something they need to give me. So I was asking them. So can I get it? When can I get it?
Are we still talking about work?
Yes.
Just checking. Just checking. Okay, what was the most expensive splurge for you in 2019? The most luxurious thing you did for yourself in 2019 that you were like, this I don't normally do, but it feels good.
Shoes.
Are you a shoe guy?
No.
Okay, but shoes for you.
That one pair of shoe, I couldn't leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2019 was a very bad year for me. I didn't do anything for myself. So
Really?
hopefully, yeah, I didn't do anything special for myself.
And is that
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was broke. I was broke.
So, okay.
I was
so
broke
it was
the
just
whole
like
year. Yeah. I couldn't afford anything.
There were other priorities.
Yes, the other priorities.
There are other priorities.
Yes.
Got it. What is your least favorite genre of music?
Rock.
Really? We will.
Not rock me.
Okay. Interesting. That's really
Least favorite, not hated.
Linkin Park. No.
Least favorite,
Okay,
like
okay. Least favorite. Least favorite.
in a playlist.
Okay.
The rocks. I mean, I have some very nice favorite
Yeah.
rock songs, but it's not a genre. I don't look forward. Like, actually, you see where you just stop Linkin Park?
Yeah.
That's where my rock ended. Vertical Horizon,
Everyone else?
Californication, Red Hot Chili Pepper.
No.
After that, I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
Things change.
All right.
Mine is Lingala.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel you there. Yeah, I'm on that train. I never got it. I just
No, but I like Lingala. So not but you said this is
favorite.
Least
favorite.
yeah, not hated.
Yeah.
I have one I hate, but
Yeah.
What's
Lingala.
your hate? What's
Lingala.
your-
Lingala.
No, I don't hate Lingala.
Oh.
Lingala is up there.
Which one do you hate?
Mumble rap. Mumble rap.
What's mumble rap? I missed that. Which one is that? Is that the rap that they do these days?
Whatever Takashi and those guys are doing.
Okay.
That one I hate.
You hate your international celebrity crush.
This is cliche, but
Beyonce.
okay. Nah.
Rihanna.
Nope.
None of them? That's not clear. Okay, who?
It depends on which period.
Okay.
Right now, honestly,
I know. Let's do it in the 80s and 90s. Since this is a throwback show,
Yeah,
who
okay.
was your crush back
Hail
then?
Berry, Executive Decisions.
Who?
Hail Berry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Feel you.
Mine was Whitney.
Whitney Houston?
Yeah.
I just saw a video of her, of her backstage, and she started singing the song before she'd even got onto stage, and she was putting lipstick on. She's like, na 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 na.
Oh, I know the song. I know the song.
And she's just putting lipstick on, and someone's holding the mic for her, and then eventually she goes up. Britney is a legend.
Yeah.
Halle Berry and Diana King. Those two are just.
Yeah. Halle is a classic. She's a classic. All right. So
I used to dump them as they keep coming out. Next, at some point, Tony Braxton. Next, somebody else like that.
Was Beyonce Destiny's Child?
But right now, if I tell you, you'll be shocked.
Who's now?
Solange.
I feel that. Yeah. Solange has like a cool vibe about her.
I mean that.
An alternative kind of vibe.
Yeah, I feel guys ignore her because of who Beyonce is.
Yes.
But honestly, for me, Beyonce she's never even moved.
Okay, we're gonna move right back on, right on.
Same
but I'd love to work with her.
With Beyonce or Solange?
Working, I can work with anyone.
Anyone. So let's talk work. But let's talk work in the 90s, early 2000s. Can you tell me in one or two sentences what do you think made that era of music, of the audience, of that hype? What for you was special about that time?
I know the answer. I'm just waiting for that guy to shut up. Okay. So that it's very loud and clear. Okay. The word is passion.
Passion. Would you?
I was there from day one. From day one, and all these things started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel there was more passion, or that there is no?
Now guys are having fun. They're not passionate about it.
Tell me more.
They are looking for, one, kiki, trending. Okay. Two, to be popular, and as a way of escaping.
Okay.
But not something they're doing because they love it and they can sacrifice. The current crop of artists cannot sacrifice for the industry.
And what are some of the sacrifices that you feel were made, or you even had to make back then?
Guys who've paved the way are dying poor.
So.
Because they are not greedy. But right now, the guys want to be famous and rich. The driving factor is being wealthy.
Okay.
Without putting in the work.
Yeah. What sacrifices do you feel you made when you were at the start of your career that you don't witness in the industry at the moment?
Oh, let me see.
Like if I speak for me as a DJ, and you see things that were different. There was no social media. Mm-hmm. So for me, I washed toilets for 1 year so that I can buy equipment. I knew when I was starting that job, I want to buy equipment. So I did the job 1 year, bought the equipment, and started teaching myself.
But I've heard of people, maybe not exactly that kind
21st century
sacrifice, maybe not washed toilets, but I do see, I have kind of heard of people sacrifice time with friends and a normal childhood as they try and master a certain skill, whether it is an instrument or even their music career. Don't you feel like, or do you feel like there's I mean, have you? For
me, I feel, guys, the terms of sacrifice, I mean, is that now DJs are not breaking new songs.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very big problem.
Producers are not taking on new artists. As in, guys would deny themselves so much to invest in an artist to see this artist career grow. Guys are not doing that. Right now, guys are all about offering offers for recording to just get the money from the artist. And that's why I feel we are stagnating. We are not creating artists. And if you don't create artists...
And I also think another very big challenge, back in the day there were labels.
Okay.
So there was like structure in different labels. Nowadays it's just independent musicians. Yeah. That's very difficult. So
difficult for who?
For the artists, because everybody is doing what they think, what they know that will work. So if I have got into trouble before, if I try and tell someone to do something, because my thinking is different from theirs. If I try and tell you if you do this song this way, it might be listened to in another country. Yeah. They don't want. They just want to do something here that the neighborhood can like. Yeah. It can trend on YouTube. Get a million views. Right. People get excited about 1 million views.
Instead of 1 million shillings.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me. I would like to challenge that a little. The idea, or just understand it. Maybe that's the word I should use. Understand that idea a little bit more. That people are representing themselves now, and that is shifting the way the industry works. But what if the industry and the structures in place don't support, say, how you look, how you sound, and you've been knocking on doors for so long? I think there's now I don't remember her name, but there's a British artist who represents herself. She's curvy, light-skinned, not Adele, light-skinned, she's black, but with a really light, she's gorgeous, I can't remember her name. But I think she represents herself, and I found that, like, refreshing, that she didn't have to wait for a label, that she kind of pushed and created, charted her own path. Isn't that something worth celebrating? Or how does it, and if not, how does it affect or, bring the industry down in any way, if it does at all? And yeah, since you're the one who said that we lack the structures, I want to understand, is there not room for people to circumvent the structures?
So the problem is, if the structures are not there, and you have like students who can play, you have students who finish school, 16, they can play an instrument, and they don't know where to go. There's no structure. How would you help that person? So that person needs to be very, very, very passionate, not even sleep. And I guess that's what maybe he's trying to say. If you're really, really passionate and keep doing what you're doing, somebody else, even if the structures are not there, will notice you, and maybe you are the one who's going to make the structures work. I don't know whether that makes sense.
Do you think there's that kind of flexibility in these structures? And I even mean whether it's labels or even the hierarchies of, you've been in the industry this long, therefore this is where you're granted, and this is... Do you think there's flexibility?
For me, I usually categorize arts into two different things.
Okay.
There's the creating part, and then there's the business side.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the business side will never change. Money is money. How money is made, that's not going to change. How money is handled, managed, and resources allocated, that's not going to change. But how we create the content and create the artist is what has changed. Right now, the artist or anybody who's talented, they have way more avenues to improve their craft and to generate an audience for themselves without relying basically on what labels and the people who are the gatekeepers had to offer.
Would you say that's a good thing or
it's a good thing?
It's a good thing.
It's a plus.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you need a certain level of discipline and knowledge and experience to appreciate it. These tools have been given to people, the power has been given to people who don't know what to do with it. And it's created kind of a crisis. Yeah. Diluting the industry. And these guys who are coming, they're not respecting the business side of things. For me, that's my biggest problem.
They're not and what would respecting the business side of things look? What does that mean exactly?
Soft skills like negotiating, managing your resources, understanding that somebody's putting money for you, for this to take off. Just the soft skills that are needed to manage the resources and just ensure that your career has a long term.
Yeah, that there's longevity behind it.
The current crop of artists, most of them, they don't even know what meetings are. They go for meetings, they want to be given cash now.
Are we sure about this?
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes.
There's no kind of business acumen that's
you see, because the creative side has been elevated and made powerful, they think they are big.
Because they have the numbers on social media or a hit on radio, you mean?
Exactly.
So because of that, they think, I've made it.
Yes, and you see, for you to get to that point, you needed people who had connections and resources.
Yeah.
Now you don't need that. You can physically actually do it yourself.
Right.
So they go for meetings, they don't know how to negotiate. They bring bad attitude. It doesn't build their character as businessmen. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You separate these two things. There's the creating and the content and brand building part.
Right.
Then there's the running of the business, which these guys now totally lack. And that is a traditional system that doesn't need to change because money is money, ethics is ethics. Yeah.
Even when you talk about creating, right? When he's talking about creating, there's some songs which are humongous in this country. They can't be played outside here. Because this is the only country a song can be made today and tomorrow it's on radio.
The only country?
The song, the song needs to go, you can tell you, the song needs to go through a process in terms of mastering and all that. But here a song is just done, someone thinks they've mixed it properly, the next thing it's on radio. You take this song abroad, no one wants to touch it.
Interesting.
Because people are in a rush.
Right.
instead of following the process.
Right. Right. I have so many questions about this, and
I say they are rushing for 1 million views instead of 1 million shillings.
But I mean, I get that. So I get that, but I've witnessed it. The culture has shifted into, can you see me? Do you like me? Can I get my numbers high as possible? Because perception now matters so much. But I'm just wondering. So is that what has caused? Would you say that social media
Technology,
is or technology? That it's cut out a lot of.
We're in the information age now.
And
it has cut off middlemen, and it has given power to idiots, in quotes.
Wow, we are coming out rough in this show.
But it's true.
That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I'd like to think...
It is true.
It's not...
Not everyone. You see, there are people who know how to use it to their advantage and who know how to, utilize it to grow their business and their brands. But the other, you see, to upload a song on YouTube, you don't need anyone's permission. You'll do it in your bedroom. You have no standards, you have no strategy. You don't know what this song is going to do. But because the content is relevant to the market, the song blows up.
But isn't that something, though, that the fact that they've identified whatever the zeitgeist is in the culture?
That's not the problem. The problem is that they have so much power.
So who's there to guide?
That's what I was saying.
There's no one. That one you can't. And it's up to them now to look. Once problems start emerging, that's when they come back tracing to try and see, how can I manage this crisis? How can I manage this beast that I've created?
Or I should have done this when somebody else has already taken over.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking music and the shifts that we've witnessed in the last 2-3 decades. We're here at Park Inn by Radisson, and pardon the noise that you'll hear now and then. There's a training going on, baristas and barmen at a corner, and bar women too at a corner. But before the break, the discussion, I'm not even sure where to start, but I'm gonna try and understand a little bit better. What would be the solution? Because there's a young crop of artists who I'd like to think are not only talented, but have their finger on the pulse of whatever's happening. So their current thing, understand it, they get it. I would even argue that they're passionate, but perhaps lack an understanding of the business acumen or some of the structures around the music industry. How do you bridge that gap? How do we get the people who are experienced and understand to work better with the young artists who are coming so that there's longevity, there is something substantial?
I'll let him answer, but can I ask you a question? The young children of today, the young generation.
Yeah.
Forget about music.
Okay.
Do they listen?
I think that they have a kind of fearlessness to them, a boldness that challenges things that we were not raised to challenge. A teacher would say something, don't question it. A politician does something, be quiet. A man in the office gropes you in a certain way and you just are like, just hush, And now it's like, no, don't tell me where to park my car, or don't force me to, go in a direction that my life doesn't feel like it's destined to go in. So I think that's the difference here. So they might listen, but they will have questions and they'll challenge and kind of... Because
technology has taught them, and it's not their fault, that things are instant.
So
things are instant. Technology has taught them. So because of that, it's very hard for someone like me who knows about discipline, taking something to take long, For you to achieve something, for me to go to the gym and get a six-pack,
right.
It doesn't happen the way technology works.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to tell people, you have to slow down, because this thing of just doing things very quickly, it comes with its disadvantages. Because the quicker it goes, the quicker it comes down.
The quicker it falls.
Yeah.
I think it's, from my perspective, I think it's good to be bold. But it's another thing to be entitled.
Okay.
It's a thin line.
That you're right. There are two very different things. There's nothing more repulsive than an entitled.
Entitlement could pass off as boldness.
So how do you bridge that gap? Because there's maybe and I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I wish now that we had some young talent who'd be like, sharing and asking questions. But so I would argue that maybe the older maybe are more stuck in these structures
I think
and systems, and the younger are. So how do you bridge? Where's the solution there?
For me, honestly, I don't think it's a matter of bridging. It's just a generational characteristic. Every generation has its own vibe. This is their vibe. And usually what happens when that generation encounters a tipping point, they sit back and ask themselves hard questions. They're like, yo, we're not progressing. We've hit a brick wall because why? Yeah. When you look at the hippies culture in the 70s, they partied until they're like, this thing is affecting us. Us guys who are born, we are like now a bit cooler. We listen to our parents, So I think it's just a generational characteristic. They have to go through the cycle. Some will fall by the wayside, others will learn better and earlier. So, there's really nothing you can do to do much. Just be there for them when they come knocking on your door and ask you questions. Yeah, for me, that's how I look at it. When somebody comes back and they're like, Eric, and it has happened to a lot of these young kids, guys who are out there abusing you, telling you guy, you're too old, you don't know what you're saying. They're the same guys coming to ask you questions. Not in a bad way, and I welcome them with open arms. I'm like, yes, it's good that you've seen what it's doing to you. Okay. For me, I call it, they ran and walked too fast before they crawled. Okay. So now they want to come and be like, okay, we've gone up ahead, let's come in. And I totally open the door for them, and I sit with them and I mentor them and I guide them as much as I can. So it's just an issue of understanding them. And I think for us guys who are a bit older, it's us to understand them. Let's not force our ways onto them because their generation is very different. When my mom was beating me for swimming in a river, I did not understand. What the hell is wrong with this? I'm just swimming in a river. But now I'm a parent, I can see crocodiles, I can see snakes, Exactly. There's so much you could see because of her age and wisdom that I can't see. And it's good you let children just be. Just let the generation have its time. Let them define their path.
Yeah.
If things go in a way that they don't like, I can guarantee you life has a way of correcting itself. They'll come back.
Okay. Is this a kind of feeling that you'd say cuts across almost everyone that you've met in the younger generation?
Not most of them.
Or is it
majority, like 90%.
Is that? Would you say the same?
Majority, but it's a generational thing. You have to understand them, and just from the example of, let's go even back from a biblical perspective, the prodigal son. The father slaughtered the best cow and this guy came back. So there's nothing new under the sun. When you see your children misbehaving, you let them be. But up ahead, life has a way of turning around things. Even just from the Bible itself, from the prodigal son. So it's exactly, I feel bad when parents rebuke their kids and, call them demons and they don't want to understand them. That's not how you deal with these people. For me, I think that's the bridge. Just let them be, go and learn. When they make mistakes, they come back, you correct them and lead them properly.
Pinye, what kind of shifts have you witnessed when it comes to DJing and the new crop of DJs that are coming up, whether it's locally or internationally? Are there elements about the new crop of DJs that you admire or kind of look up to as being creative or different in any way? And if so, what are those?
Oh, as for me, I find them like they're all doing the same thing.
Who, internationally or
locally?
No,
locally. Locally, yeah. Locally, if you go out somewhere, if you go club hopping, that's what, yeah, you'll find that everybody's playing the same thing. Okay. And for me, I never made it like that. I used to take a risk to do something different. If there are new songs, play new songs. So there are very few DJs you find who want to experiment and try and play something different. Everybody wants to play what everybody else is playing. So that also, I think, has contributed to us being where we are.
In the DJ space. I feel like I'm going to be honest here. I feel like we're being very hard on the
you feel you need someone here to defend themselves, right?
Or just to try and understand a different perspective. But again, and this really, the premise of this show was to try and go back to what it was.
So next week, invite the young ones.
Right,
That's what I was
Now they come those old guys.
That's what I was gonna say.
And then I'll be there like, I'm not really sure that's fair. And I wish, no, but the premise of this show was to try and understand what the shifts have been and what music was and how different it is today. And I can hear your frustrations in there being a lack
It's not really it's not frustration.
Oh, what is it?
It's okay. There's a sense of frustration because of, for me, what frustrates me the most is the lack of passion. Like, guys are doing this to have fun.
I know a lot of passionate young artists. I mean, well, okay, let me say youth. Maybe not necessarily in the music industry.
Locally.
But I do know a lot of...
They're passionate, yes, but...
And I don't know much about the music industry, but I mean, like, I know many young, passionate...
We can discuss that off here, because I don't want to mention names.
No, we're not mentioning names here. But, okay, so my understanding here is that there's a lack of maybe depth when it comes to content, because you just want to release, like, a quick single tour quickly, and there's no... I think you talked about, like, there's no really taking time to produce an album and to think that through. You just are
microwave
like,
generation
hit. Right.
Quick, they want it now.
Okay, let's shift gears a little. Let's talk about social media, because that's and technology, because that's one of the biggest, most obvious shifts.
It is the shift.
Yeah, between your generation and others, and it's also it pulled down a lot of those structures that you just talked about, and those gatekeepers. Suddenly, if you have a YouTube account, Justin Bieber became Justin Bieber because of YouTube, right? So have you found it difficult, or have you found it important, actually, in your respective fields to try and understand and make the most of social media? Have you found that
initially
has been important?
Let me answer on my behalf. Initially, I was very reluctant. In fact, I had my first Facebook account in 2006, when you had to be invited by a university student. Okay. Up to around 2013, I had a huge Twitter following. I was almost at 40,000K. Instagram, I was doing like 2,000-3,000 then. But I let the personal stuff people were posting blind me to the value of social media and what it can do to my business. And I shut all my accounts up to 2017. As in, I was non-existent, like I didn't exist. If you ask me right now, I regret it. Yeah, because people like you came and were like, yo, this chick is making money off YouTube. Yo, what's happening? You know, we failed to see where the opportunities were. For me, I cannot say that we did anything better or this generation is doing anything better. Every passing time and generation has its advantages and disadvantages. And it will be stupid of you to want things to stay as they were. Life moves on. You have to learn to adapt. Yeah, and if you don't have the ability to adapt and see the trends early enough, you'll come to sit down and blame the guys who are making it now. And that's why I think the most appropriate statement for this is don't blame the player, blame the game.
Okay. Pinye, do you agree? You now have, I think, 17,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah, I also wasn't very exactly like him. Yeah, I didn't
because
jump on it.
For me, I felt like these guys want to see what I'm eating. No way, how?
Because I'm a very private person.
Okay.
So I didn't see, when I saw what people are doing online, I said no, there's no way. I'm naturally very private. So I held back completely until I realized, you know what, I can also use this thing as a tool, either to pass across information or to even
to engage your audience.
Just to engage your audience. Right?
Did you at any point have to speak to the younger generation to be like, okay, so tell me again, what is
I'm still doing it.
So like when I met I don't know whether you know my connection with Octo. When I met Octo, he also didn't know so much about any of these things, but he's on till today. I don't even believe there's any artist. He's one of the top 3 artists who's on social media. You can't beat him. So he's gonna ask
So there have been moments
Is
where you
that
found yourself
Yes,
going to the
yes,
younger generation to be
yes.
like, teach me about
Yes,
this thing.
yes.
That
All the
has
time.
completely
Yes.
revolutionized the industry.
I didn't know how to do Insta stories until last year.
So we'll do another tutorial. Welcome back, everybody. We are here at Parkin by Radisson. I don't know what's tickling you. I've got Pinye and Musyoka here with me, and we're talking music and the shifts that have taken place in the last 3 decades or so. What role does the media play in all this? And has that role shifted over the years, do you think?
Definitely, like traditional media definitely has changed, because right now there is something totally different. The industry has really completely changed. So traditional media still has a role in like enforcing and pushing trends. And I just think it's a matter of the stakeholders within the media's industry to sit and redefine what role they want to play. If you're a traditional media, you play your part. I'm sure definitely because of business changes and everything, they have had to adapt and, do different things. So it's just a matter of understanding how the business environment is changing. Like I had, when we were starting, Pinye was saying how 2019 was a bad year for him. It was a bad year for me also. But you know what, I realized it's not that I was a lazy person. I didn't have work or anything. But the business model has just changed. Yeah. The business model has just changed. Hotel guys are complaining the rooms are not occupied, but Airbnb is through the roof.
Right.
Guys are saying cars are not being bought, but Ubers are being registered every day. You see, so it's just a matter of understanding what's happening to your business. Traditional sellers are complaining, but Jumia and Alikiba, is it Alibaba? Or business is booming, baby. So it's
true.
you just need to understand what is happening to your business. Understand what's happening to your industry. Same thing that has happened to art. You can't keep singing the same song and expect to get the same results. The audience has changed.
Okay. Pinye, do you think media, what are your thoughts around media and its responsibilities and how that has shifted?
Oh, the media has a very big role to play, because I believe they can also create trends. Yeah. So what I would want to see like the media doing is like just being bold and promoting people that, to look for someone who's doing something different and try it out. The worst that can happen, if it doesn't work, just get someone else. It doesn't cost anything to do that.
Do you think that the media has the same kind of power it had back then, when, for instance,
really.
my
Not really,
only
but
source of new music was like MTV or the radio, and now.
But still, right now MTV has completely changed. Music is not what they're still relevant. They're big. They're still shifting culture.
But power there's an imbalance in where power lies.
A bit, but like
content.
Their content has completely changed.
Okay, so let's talk about making money. What were the main ways in which artists or your industry was able to make money, and how has that shifted now? So let's go back to like 90s, early 2000s. How are people making money in the music industry?
That has not shifted.
the same way.
Really?
Same
Okay,
way.
what is it?
Shows.
What is it? Was it shows back then? I thought it was more albums.
Performances have always been the key driving factor. Yeah.
I thought it was more albums and.
The only problem now is that there are way more songs coming out.
Yeah.
So the revenue streams are still the same.
Okay.
But right now, in the 90s, when you had 5 artists to choose from, now you have 30. So the promoters now have a bargaining power. They're like, yo, you refuse, we'll take this one. So you have to lower your pricing.
Become more competitive.
Exactly.
Because there's more artists.
But
coming in.
performances always tops the list. CD sales now has been replaced with streaming sales. But what has happened? It's still a sale. Streaming has just brought the prices down. So the income just stopped being as much, and the income has reduced, but the people eating the pie have increased.
Income. Interesting. It's taken me back to.
But funny enough, artists are making way more money now from endorsements and licensing than way before.
So that's another avenue.
It was there, but it was not up there.
Have you
Totally
experienced
accepted.
that, like with with your own popularity and like interest.
Yeah, even
have you seen that? Have you witnessed it?
Yeah, because like I was lucky to do some billboards back in the day, right? But nowadays even DJs, the DJs are getting endorsements way more than they used to. Yeah.
So they were there, but they were not. They've just jumped everything else. Now they've become a main source of income.
Yeah.
And even when you sign now with labels, you start hearing labels never used to bother with image rights for artists. They never used to bother. But right now, part of your contract is your image rights.
Right. And how sellable you are. You know, I'm going to ask you about Gengatone and your thoughts on that. I didn't know we were going to get our own production. Love it. What are your thoughts? Pinye, you can start. What do you think about this new wave of music and artists?
It's interesting. It's obviously it's not something that you can catch me listening to, like in the car. But yeah, I don't mind what they're doing. It's just that I really wish that they had like the guys who are doing it, because everybody's doing their own thing. I really wish they had someone like people to guide them, to make it more. I don't even know what to use. Because unfortunately,
who would be the person to guide? Isn't it the people who've been in the industry?
Okay, I would love to guide them, but I've tried before and been insulted that I'm too old. I don't know anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're guiding, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to make it
just to find a way how?
Longevity? Are you trying to make more money? What do you mean by guide?
Longevity is very important. It's very, very important. The quality is
and by
very
quality
important.
is what you meant, like music is made today, next day is on radio.
Next day it's on radio. It's not mastered properly.
Okay.
You know, I've tried because fortunately we get to people who are outside. You get to travel.
Yeah.
You take it and you tell someone this is the biggest song in the country. Even the time I went to South Africa and I told them this is the biggest song in Kenya, and they listened to it and they laughed because of the quality. So then when I come back home, I'm trying to tell the artist, listen, we need to first change. Creatives are very sensitive.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Right?
Creatives are sensitive about their work.
Yeah. So nobody wants to listen to this advice. So in fact, I decided to take a break. No more mentoring for until further notice.
Really?
Yes.
But mentoring only works if both parties are in the right space,
Yes,
right? I
yes.
can't come to you and say mentor me. Like there needs to be a rapport and a relationship, and I need to be willing, and so do you.
Yes.
Thoughts on Gengatone?
I love it.
That's it.
He's even produced some of it. He's responsible of producing some of it.
Okay.
You see what this artist of Lambalolo went through? The same thing we went through when we did a song called Keroro with Nanyinyi. We were the ethics of that time. Like, so for me, I know what they are going through. I know what they.
But is the quality the same? Be honest.
No, definitely not.
That's my problem.
For me, my problem with it is the quality.
The quality is the problem.
The sellable aspect of the commercial aspect of it is really wanting, and for me, I hope I can correct that with time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm working towards. Just making sure that they understand. Yes, there's the creative side and then the commercial side, the business side. What I was telling you, there are some things that will never change. Quality is quality. It doesn't matter what. Yeah.
What has gone right in the?
Looks because we just been talking negative things.
No, I mean.
No, in the I'm being serious. Like
what has gone right?
Yeah, like I want to
me,
understand where is it going, and what should people kind of focus on and just move towards? Because I think what has been very clear from this conversation is quality and depth in everything that you're doing matters. But what do you think has gone right in the 20 years that you've been?
The fact that someone in school is able to hold a mic and go somewhere and perform, that's a very big thing.
For me, what the Gengatone artists have done to our industry is amazing. Like, they've brought attention back. But now, my biggest fear is that can we sustain that attention? Because once guys are tired with the content, now they'll start scrutinizing.
Yeah.
That's the next stage. And it's happening now. In fact, guys are like, all you guys sound the same. It's happening. So it's for these artists to realize now, hey, okay, we are lucky. Phase 1, we are done. We've got your attention. Now, how do we keep you here?
Reinvent.
You've talked about attention. How has the audience changed? And I asked this because you are now hosting a quarterly gig, playback, isn't it? Where
for my generation.
For your generation. So how has the audience shifted? Because a lot of this also is responding to what the audience is looking at. You know, you're kind of like, that's where your mind is at. So how has the audience changed?
The audience has just become younger. There are way more young people.
Is it younger or you've become older?
No. There's both.
It's both.
The young generation is way bigger. Their population is way, and that's why they're able to push their agenda.
They're more.
Can get on. Because they are more. As in, it's like they've just. It's like a locust of an audience that has just showed up. Like all of a sudden, there was no Kenyan music being listened, but then all of a sudden, these kids just came with their hearts, their jabba, their kindukulu, and boom! Like it's like a locust infestation. I don't know where they've come from. Which for me is an excellent thing.
And are we talking about the last
2 years?
2 years.
The last 2 years.
Yes.
And in between, what was happening?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We had given Sauti Sol the mandate to run this country, but you cannot rest such a responsibility on one artist. So for me, I'm glad these guys have brought an audience that we were unable to capture, that we've been struggling to get through to. As in, you hardly hear Nigerian songs, you hardly hear those songs.
We just need to get one of them.
One of those three guys.
One of them, and then clean them up completely, and it's a wrap. Then the others will follow. But if they continue the way they're continuing, let's talk in 2 years.
So
Self-cannibalize.
you think that you guys are the answer?
No, we just know we know how music goes. It's a wave.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm doing my best. I'm trying my best to work with as many of these guys I can with, to just make sure that this thing doesn't just end. Like we create something that guys can be like, yo, now bring whiskey, we can talk. For me, that's what's really driving me now.
Yeah. Have you found resistance in that? Like, have you found? Okay, well, I guess you have. In your experience, you just found people like, no, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
In which case, you can't.
They don't listen. Yeah.
They don't listen. Someone who doesn't want to.
For me, honestly, I haven't yet.
You haven't found resistance. There's open.
And I even have some that right now. I have some that I know if they could just listen, they will change the whole thing altogether.
Change the game.
They will change the game.
There.
Yeah,
there's something in them having identified and kind of come out with something that is.
But you see, music is supported by corporates. If you cannot speak the corporate language, you are wasting your time.
Hasn't that shifted though? Not at all?
It has never changed. It's always been. And this I was told by Alex Okoye of MTV in 2005. The future of music is free music supported by corporates. You need to learn to speak their language.
But can you see how that would frustrate someone who might have a difference of opinion when it comes to what sells, how to speak, how to dress, how to wear your hair? And if a corporate is saying you have to do this, you can see why someone would be like,
but the corporates have the money.
But isn't it, money...
The money is not with the artists.
Wait, I have a question. The money is in concerts, so you said that's the #1.
But who's paying for those concerts?
It's the corporates.
FYI, nobody makes money from gate sales.
So the corporates, we need another show.
Corporate sponsors.
It's the corporate sponsor the show.
Right,
sponsor, man. They put marketing budgets by corporates, sustain entertainment business.
No, but when you're running your own, if you've got your own tour.
Who's got?
Yes, no, I'm thinking Beyonce.
None of these guys.
Has corporates.
Look at the people who sponsor. You cannot sponsor.
I don't know if that will be the case 10 years from now. I don't know if it's.
It has always been the case. A concert is too expensive.
No, but I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of the corporates having the negotiating power.
They will always have the negotiating power.
Always?
Always.
Yes.
I think things are going to change, and it'll fall into the hands of the audience, and that they will dictate.
The corporate wants to reach to the audience to sell the product. That's it.
I don't know. I feel
the audience will not pay you. They will buy the product that is associated with your brand.
But
who is the biggest sponsor of football?
Oh,
It's not Manchester United club. It's Emirates, the corporate. It's a whole other discussion about music business, entertainment business.
I've deeper
Even the Premier League,
questions
it's
here,
battles.
but our time is up. Our time is up, and I just feel like we're just scratching the surface
Even the World
in
Cup,
this
it's
conversation.
Coca-Cola.
I wish we could have a bigger debate, and maybe that's something worth noting. I know for sure we will have the younger kids on the block
Talk to them.
coming out with music, and I want to hear from them what their experience is like. I'm so desperate to hear their side of it. But I think this was really eye-opening.
Because they're on their own. They're on their own.
Are they?
Yes, they're
They're
on their own.
I can tell you off camera that
Let's discuss after the show. They're on their own.
I feel like this is about to get into
I've been in meetings and the things I've had.
Therapeutic session, and I'm happy to sit here and you can tell me what you need to say and let it out in a safe space. Cameras off. But thank you so much for being so bold and open and sharing what you think works and doesn't work. And I'd like to think at least that someone watching might have 1 or 2, 3 gems that they took from this, and it may have changed the way that they're looking at music or approaching their business or their art. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a fabulous weekend. But before I let you go, I'm going to leave you with a cool mix from the 90s and the early 2000s, just to throw it back and we can get into our weekends with that old school vibe. Throw in some Tony Braxton in there, I say. While you're throwing in Kenyan music, just throw that in. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. Bye.